Slides 156 and 157. Commissioning spares, specialist services, leak detection, onshore testing, specific offshore and subsea issues, officers, chemicals and consumables. Learning objectives. After completing this module, you will know the importance of commissioning spares, how to quantify and when to procure these items, the type of specialist services required for commissioning and when these are required, how to quantify specialist services required for commissioning on a project, and after completing this module, you will know how to assess the comparative strengths and weaknesses of leak detection methods, the pros and cons of onshore testing versus offshore testing, the purpose of compressor testing, string testing and the use of load banks. Also, specific issues related to working offshore and subsea. The considerations of scope, schedule and budget for officers, logistics, equipment, chemicals and consumables. Commissioning spares. Although referred to as commissioning spares, this usually means all spare parts and consumables required through to final handover to operations. This means all consumables required by construction, pre-commissioning and commissioning, up to the final handover. Defining and identifying the spare parts needed through commissioning and startup is often left for the vendors to decide. Sometimes separate contracts are placed with vendors solely for the provision of spare parts through the commissioning and startup phase. As a general principle, leaving the identification and recommendation for the supply of commissioning spares to the vendors can appear costly, but could be extremely prudent and mitigate schedule delays, particularly if the project is located in a remote area or a developing country. Liaise closely with package engineers to ensure they are aware of commissioning's requirements and these are being complied with. All unused spare parts from the commissioning and startup phase will be turned over to operations and supplement the overall inventory. Therefore, the clear advice given here is, with many other important considerations to make, the commissioning manager, based on experience, should satisfy him or herself as to the adequacy of the vendor's recommendations and make additions where needed. Slides 162 to 165. Specialist services. Assess the scope of work to quantify and plan for engaging the specialist services and contractors that will be needed. As a minimum, these will normally include for test equipment, for relief valves, inspection equipment, for example a boroscope, cleaning processes, these would be chemical cleaning, mechanical cleaning, pipeline pigging, pneumatic blowing, steam blowing and hot oil flushing. In leak detection there'll be helium and nitrogen combined, with test media that will also include water, nitrogen and helium. There will be first fills and lubricants, utilities requirements, water, diesel, drainage and temporary power, with generators and load banks.